All right, so when drawing the eye, you want to think of the anatomy underneath the structure of the entire eye before approaching it. So to simplify things, we have the eyeball, right? So we're going to start with just a large circle, or whatever size you need for the eyeball to fit. Sketch it out nice and loose like you've been practicing. Keep your lines soft because you're going to be erasing parts of this. What I like to do is within that is draw the iris and the pupil. The iris, you want to make sure that this outer circle here is relative in size to the larger eyeball overall. The pupil itself changes with how much light enters, so that can vary a lot. Once you've got the eyeball, now you want to look at a reference, and on the top of the eyelid you're going to look for 3 distinct angles, and on the bottom for 2. And remember, you're stretching it across the eyeball, so you don't want to start too wide and go too wide. You want to stay pretty close to the sphere that you've drawn, right? It's a sphere. So let's say I've got an angle coming up like this, another one coming across, and then another one down at the other side. So that's 1, 2, 3 distinct angles going across the top. And then across the bottom, I'm going to have 1 and 2. Now notice that the top of the eyelid crosses across the top of the iris here. Most people, when you look at them, you'll see that part of that is covered by their eyelid when they're just in a normal resting state. Only when they're in shock or surprise do you see white all the way around the iris. You will, however, see some underneath normally, or sometimes the bottom eyelid is touching as well. So there's either space underneath or there's contact there. Once I've got those angles, right, you can see the distinct angles here. They're not going to be hard angles. They're going to have like, a little smoother, but the key is that there's changes in direction. Really planes is what we're looking for, planes. So once I've got that basic shape, and if I'm happy with it, I can start to add in a little bit more details and start to bring out those, what I might see. So I might see like the thickness of the eyelid itself, right? Maybe you can see the underside of this one, and it kind of wraps as the eyelid wraps around, so you can see the whole time. Remember, this, it is a sphere underneath, so you can shade as you would a sphere there. If it's helpful, you can even shade before you draw the eye on top. But a little bit of value in there helps. Distinguishing out a tear duct. Not going to be in the middle, a little bit lower than the middle. And then if you want to start, let's see, I got a little shine mark. Got a little bit, can darken in that iris there. We add some of those lines that you might see in the iris. Start deepening or pulling out anything that I want to. Maybe some eyelashes, which I'll bring together as kind of feather to the outside, right? So this is the inside of the face. The nose is over here. This is the outside there, so I'm going to feather those out. I don't want to draw them like the rays of a sun, right? Just kind of clusters together. And then if I have any eyelid folds, I want to look for those as well that I might see, and use that initial sphere to help me get that curvature or any of those other details. And then if I need to, I can erase that initial sphere that I drew. That's not part of the final product, right? This is a sketch, so I'm not overly concerned with cleaning it up. I can keep my drawing kind of rough, kind of light, but, and then adding a little bit of value, and of course the eyebrow with the bend of the eyebrow going somewhere over the edge there. So give that a try. Try that technique of starting with the eyeball and then building on top of that sphere, right? Understand the structure underneath to help you build what's on top, and practice. It's going to take more than one to figure this out, so don't get discouraged if your first eyeball looks a little wonky. You'll get there. Big tip, look at actual pictures or people so you can see the eye. Good luck.